All right, we are back, and we are in the Unreal Engine tab. And as you can see here, it's taken a while. I had to end the previous recording and get into this software, so it wouldn't complicate the workflow. So without further ado, I'm gonna kind of minimize this so you don't see my face talking in the background. But as you can see in the bottom right, you have the preparing the mesh, and this is all the shaders. And as you see, there is some light that's shining in. There are uh, some some assets that we have built that's pulling in. You can see that these are the different shader components. There's different graphics and illustrations. I put hieroglyphs on the staircase. I put some shiny reflective materials to make it look like it's got like water to it. So this is a scene that I have built. And here we have our character. This is the Revenant. This is from the game Paragon, which is a beta game that was released back in 2017. They had discontinued the project, but all the characters are now free for anybody to download and put into their projects with Unreal Engine. So I have here just kind of a basic scene. Now this is a little bit complicated as far as how the scene was built. These are all the different rocks and the cliff sides. This was pulled from another data project from Unreal Engine called Electric Dreams. That was pulled in. I had put in some of the dirt and the leaves and the mesh components as well from that file. And the animation aspects was pulled from a project called the Slay Animation. So it's not perfect, but I try to make a reference with where you can see kind of like the skylight. I'm not going to mess with the lighting at all because it is very touchy to deal with. So I just wanted to show the scene, what you guys are looking at, how I pulled it up. But this is some of the things that I want to work on. As you can see, there is some issues with some of the assets. So I had pulled this whole file in, and one of the hardest parts about this file is that when you pull out specific components, you can see that there is a small asset, and I believe and here we are. So we were pulling out different building templates. So we just found the actual material. So this is what happened. As we can see here, now we just have this specific component highlighted, and we can do any manipulation that we want to with it. We can move it around. We can set it back into its plane. We can do a lot. We can try to hide some of the things. But as we can see that we have an asset that's already centered right in front of it. So we don't want to like do too much to it, but what we want to focus on is that we see here that there is an inconsistency with the tiles right here. And if we look at the EV, so we have the single master layer here, and this is, I believe, element 7. So we can do a couple different things. So we can open this up in the blueprint, and we can go to the viewport. If we go to Soul Temple Building D, we'll go scroll down, and it's not there. Okay, lovely. All right, so that doesn't help our case, so we're going to exit that out. So this looks like this was just manipulated for what it is. So this is all just a master material here. So what we want to do is we want to pull up the content browser. We want to go to our materials, which we have stored over here. And we want to look at the different materials and ask ourselves what's going to match this top layer to this bottom layer. There's a couple different ways we can do it. We can stretch the material, we can compress it, we could do a little bit of math, or we can just auto simulate it and see what it does from there. So let's do that. So we have here, we have our master material. Obviously that doesn't look too good, so it looks like this is all just one of the same material, so it's definitely confused with something. So if we go back into the material here and we change the element 6 layer, and we can highlight any of the materials. So this is the actual layer. So if you just click on one of the layers, so if I say I want to click on this layer, you can just go to this button right here and it will just automatically insert a slot. Now when you do that, it changes in real time, so if you don't see the change, then that's not part of the asset. So you can create the dynamic material with the stone layer break. However, we're not going to be doing that because this, as you can see, if I change the material, the dynamic layer, it will actually reset the whole layer. So as you see what we just did there, we created this sideways kind of border, and not sure if that looks too good. So this is kind of where the creativity comes in. You know, for me per se, I'd want the borders to kind of have the same color, but not necessarily the highlighter good. So how do we do that? Well, we have to actually go into the mother material itself. So if we open up this blueprint here, and we see that the base color, it's got the emissive color, so we have like kind of like this like tile like color to it. We have the texture, so we can change the color. Now to look at the actual sample colors, it's pretty ugly. So we want to just be careful of what kind of color materials we got. So there's all different types of layers. So we want to pick the one that is closest to. So we can choose this one per se, and you know, it's got little, you know, abrasions to it, and you know, it's got kind of like that stripe, you know, kind of like you know, like that look to it. So you know, maybe that could work. I don't know, but there's many different ways to do this. If you wanted to have like that wood color, you can, but this just all comes down to the types of materials you put. And it's like watching paint dry. Nobody's really gonna see it, you know. So we add this like leather texture to it, so it looks like the rock has got like some sort of erosion. So why don't we just do that? So we can save our parameters there, save the package, and that saves our material. Exit that out. There you have. There's our little layer there. With this material, we have different stone layers here, so we just want to be careful what we are manipulating and what's actually getting changed in real time. Obviously everything that you have selected in the content browser is going to automatically refurbish into your stone. So if you want to have like that extra stone look to it, you just want to be cognizant of what you're doing. I'm going to be completely honest with you. You see, that looks a little bit better because now you have some consistency. So you don't have like this fat image that's separated from what the actual picture is. You can kind of see there's some wear and tear into the material, and you know, for what we're trying to accomplish as far as the actual scene goes, it looks pretty good. As you can see, if you pull away, it just looks like it's got like the stone, and you can kind of make out some images in the back. You know, you have like this totem bird, and so you can actually, from afar, it looks like there is some sort of relic, and that's what we want to accomplish. So we have this base layer here. It matches. It doesn't look too tacky. It looks like it fits into the scene pretty nicely. So we can maneuver this asset however we want. It just kind of depends on the flow with the rock. So you get creative with it. You don't want it to be protruding anything, but you can make something out of it. This is like a little mummy box here. So for what it's worth, it looks pretty good. So now that we have a consistent layer, we can take a pull out of and FYI's for those of you that are new to Unreal Engine, if you see like this highlight and just like want to get rid of the highlight, just press G. Press G takes out your widgets. So hit G takes that out. Now if you look back, you can see that there is a picture of a totem up on the top layer. You see that there is a face that looks like it's blending in pretty nicely with the rocks, and it doesn't look like it's getting broken. So that's good. We can work with that. Now for the next part, I think that we want to accomplish is, as we can see, we have like some sort of water-based environment down here. We could add some more foliage to make the scene look a little bit more swampy. We could add some extra layer of high-rise, but for the most part, I'm satisfied with the emissive color on the water. I think it looks pretty good. I think the hieroglyphs looks pretty good. As you can see here, we have that leather texture, and it looks like it's seeped into all the other components of the mesh as well from the master material, which to my eye, it doesn't look bad. It looks like, you know, it's kind of got like this wear and tear on the stone, and it adds like kind of like an amber type ambience to the actual scene. So I think we're doing pretty good there. Okay. All right. So let's go ahead and pull up the level sequencer. All right, now that we have the level sequencer pulled up and we have a different different camera shots that we have posted up in our scene, let's go ahead and just kind of play it through and see how it looks through our new edits. So as you can see here, now in this background that we have this totem pole taking out. It looks better. It doesn't look like it's broken. I think some of the new edits that we made on the master material there looks pretty good. We have the totem. You can kind of see the bottom of it, but overall it looks pretty good. With the camera panning from the top view, and then we have a sequencer of the Revenant spitting on the ground. Now, to create what we want to create, you can do a couple different things. We can set a camera kind of painting across the main character, kind of showing more of the skylight coming down. We can do that with the linear interpolation, the whole point of this video. So let's go ahead and do that. And let's go ahead and save a third part of the package. And let's go ahead and set that to our new camera and see what we can do with that. So in order to do that, we're going to need to go into this icon up here, and we're going to go to cinematics, and we want to add a new camera actor. Now, to X out of this level sequence, we're going to want to go back to the main level, which is back into our content drawer. If we go back to perspective, so we have our default viewport, And in our default viewport, we have our post-process volume, and we have that already set up around the camera. And the reason why I set up the PPV around the camera is because whatever happens inside of the PPV is gonna be what's happening and getting rendered. So there's a couple things that I want to do. So the first thing I want to do is I want to adjust its yaw. And to do that, we can go over here to the rotation plane here, and we can actually just pull it up just a little bit, and we want to make sure that we have the keyframe just right. So pull this up just a little bit where it's right, and we want the rotation. That's sorry. There we go. So we have just a little bit of an angle so we can get that totem in the background. Then of our scene just kind of adds a little bit more character into our shot. So I think that looks pretty good. So the other thing that I want to do is I want to add another camera actor. Now, when we add another camera actor, one of the biggest things is that we're going to notice is that it's going to have a part of the content folder that's just going to be isolated by itself. We want to have that attached to our sequencer and make sure that we time that in. So let's go ahead and do that. So as you see, I just added another camera actor, and you can see on the bottom screen that it's already acting into our camera. So there's a couple things that we can do to kind of just add some character into this, and let's go ahead and right click, and we're going to go to attached to snapping transform. We're going to go to pilot Cine Camera Actor 3. So if we pilot the Cinecat and we go to perspective and we go to Cine Camera Actor 3, now we're inside of the camera. And we can go to anywhere in the part of our scene, and we can just go ahead and zoom in on that. Now, there's a couple of different things. You can see that it's a little bit blurry, but that's okay. We kind of want to get like the scene where we're just kind of going on a lateral basis, where it's like nice and like, you know, kind of like scanning across. And as you can see, there are some mummies in this, so it kind of makes it look like there's like a, you know, there's like kind of like some sort of secret in here. You can see there's like some broken staircases, so it looks pretty ancient, but the picture is a little bit blurry on the near side. So we want to bring out the focus on the near side of view, and we can do that by adjusting the focal length. Now, keep in mind, depending on your computer, you just want to be aware of a couple of things. So one of the main things is that if you go into the top left of your viewport, and there's a little check icon box that says Show FPS. Go ahead and click the Show FPS, and you want to do this for a couple different reasons. One, it's going to show you that there is a streaming rate that has in your scene, and you'll notice that there is a difference with having your FPS outside of the PPV versus inside of the PPV, and I'll show you what that means. So if you go inside of the PPV, you can automatically see that there's some clarity in this shot. You can see from far side, you can see how it's clear, but if you pull down to the actor, you can see that it does render down a couple different settings. And the reason that is because there is something that is called a focal length, and we're going to do that with this camera. So with this camera, we are going to get a shot where we get a nice view of this cask of mummies, and so we can see that it's got like some type of seclusion. It adds more to our character shots. So let's go ahead and get the camera just right. Now we're going to go to our settings over here on the right, and we want our focus settings. And our focus settings is we're going to be toggling where the manual distance of the focus is. So if we take the distance of the focus and we adjust it, now again you want to be cognizant of your FPS. So the more left I go, it's taking a different approach. Now whatever happens to this cine camera actor is basically what it's going to be. So I need to go up a little bit more and see where this plane is. So we're going to get out of our scene. Where is our plane? Our plane is somewhere out there. So it is way out there. So how do we do this? Okay, so there's a little checkbox you're going to want to check. It's draw debug focus plane, and the whole point of this is to bring your focus plane to as close to you as possible. And this is something you're going to want in your scene as you are toggling with the different camera views. So as you can see, that we want to have some type of shot where we have our scene up in front, and we want to pull this in a little bit closer. So now we have it close. Our main focus is that we want to look at this column right here. So once you have that set, you're going to want to uncheck the box, and as you can already see that now that your scene is focused on that specific plane there, go ahead and get back into your sequencer, and we can pull this up, and now we have a new camera. So we have Cine Camera Actor 2 and we have Cine Camera Actor 1. So as you can see on this profile here, it goes through its cadence, and it's structured out to 174, and there's a keyframe there. And now what we're going to want to do is we are going to take our new camera, and we're simply just going to drag it in. So now that we have our new camera, and we're going to want to adjust this. So now we have a new shot, and this is the shot that just kind of shows a little bit of content into what we're looking at. So for the purpose of this video, I am going to want to have this be part of our scene, and I want this to be kind of the opener. So with the keyframes here, we see that we don't have a whole lot of views, so we're going to drag this out a little bit more, as you can see here. So there's not a whole lot of movement. So this right here is where we're going to want to look at our keyframes. So if we go down into our Cine Camera Actor 3, and right here, this has got our aperture, our focal length, which we already adjusted, the manual focus. We don't want to do that. What we want to do is we want to go to transform. And from this location, we are going to look at the camera actor, and we're going to see what can we do to transform this to kind of just pan across the mountain. And there's a couple things you want to adjust, and that's going to be the pitch, the yaw, and the roll. And the way that I try to remember it is the right hand rule with the vector planes. And you just want to play around with the settings, make sure that you have an idea of the behaviors of the camera, how it's moving from one keyframe to the next. And in order to do that, you're gonna want to set one keyframe to the next, and you don't want it to create that discontinuity that we were talking about somewhere with the EVs. So if we go here into our location, we're going to set a keyframe right on the part of the actor where it's controlled with the x-axis. And go to our camera actor, and right away we can see that if we move the settings on a lateral basis, we can already see that we have a scene where we're going to want to create an adjustment in the yaw, and we want to have an adjustment in the roll. So in order to do that, we're going to have to set a new keyframe. And so we're going to go to the end of our scene here, and this is going to create the cadence and the tempo. So this is just simply the location of the camera. So we set a new keyframe here, and as you can see that we have from our keyframe right here, the location is already set on an XY axis here. We can move the location here, and then as you can see the adjustment from this keyframe, as we move the keyframe, we have what we want to look at as an adjustment into the rotation as well as the plane axis as well. So as we said, we want to adjust the pitch, the yaw, and the roll. So the roll is simply left to right on an axis, which is like tilting your head. We have the pitch, which is yes or no. I want to adjust that. And then we have the yaw, which is left and right. So if we go over to the transform, we want to adjust that, we want to adjust that, we want to adjust that. And then as you can see, what's going to happen is that there's going to be kind of like this flow, and it's going to be like a way of how the sequencer goes. Now keep in mind that this is not a very long video, so it's going to move pretty quickly. So you can do a couple things where you drag this out to the end of its sequencer, and then you can also add to the video. Now one of the things that our main intentions of this video was to mess with the linear interpolation. And this is something that's a little bit involving. We want to actually open up the graphs, and if we look at this icon right here, it says show the animation keys in a curve editor. Now if you open that up, you are going to see a interpolation graph, and this is going to help you visualize what is actually happening on the keyframes that are happening from one delta time to the next delta time. And if we scale this out and we close out this sequencer, we scale this out and we want to make this a little bit longer, already we can see that we can add a lot more time into our edit. And when we do this, we just naturally already draw the cadence record for the delta time, giving that draw feeling of what's happening in our animation. And we're just going to go just a little bit short of that, so we have that. So if we go back to our transform module from what we had in the beginning of the video, and back over to where our camera actor 3 keyframe is set, you could see that there is a keyframe set here, but we can also set that keyframe all the way to the end. And we could just take this on a linear module and draw this out until the end of the video. Now how this gets scaled out is you can take these keys here and you can just shorten it up. You can make it wider. For our case, for the video, we're just going to make it a little bit shorter so we can draw this keyframe a little bit better. So we're going to take the end of this keyframe, we're going to go to the end of the video, and we are going to drag it out all the way to the end of our scene. And that is the whole purpose of doing this, is buying the interpolation more time to make the adjustments from the one plane to the next. And it just creates this this mood and this effect. And I think that that's important for a couple different reasons. One, it draws your audience in and makes them wanna see what's happening in this scene. And so, as you can see here, is that we have the video, but if we want to make a little bit more of an effect in the end of the video, we could draw this down. We could take this down. We could take this over, and then we can take the linear side. We're just going to draw in just a little bit more, and the best thing that I can say is when you have more keyframes, it makes the movement patterns more start and stop. So my recommendation is to limit the amount of keyframes and just draw in the different moods just from one keyframe to the next. Right away, it just pulls in this sunlight, and we can see a little bit more of the mood we're trying to set. So the Revenant, he spits, it pulls down in the front. It's kind of got like this speed effect here. There's a couple of different zoom options that we can look into. That is pretty much the entire sequence of the level. And there's so many different things to learn, because, like I said, there is such a steep learning curve when it comes to this. That's going to be our video. I think I like the lights where it's at. I think we got a little bit of seclusion. I think we have kind of a little bit of draw feel of what we're looking at. Yeah, that's going to wrap it up. I'm going to go ahead and render the scene. If you have any questions, the best things that I can refer you to is the Unreal Engine YouTube page posts a lot of updates. There's so many different things you can do. This is just the basics. I'm not, the expert dev developer. I do have a little bit of a, feel for what you can do with the engine. I'm still working with the sequencer, but every little piece of this software has a different strength, and leveraging the strength to the best of your capabilities in one area, just tackling it just little by little, you get better and better the more you practice with it. I'd be lying to you if I said I can go back and show you how to import some of these assets from an older model of Unreal Engine into the current model without any complications. I'll be able to figure it out, but there will be some some setbacks. So give yourself some patience. Just try to work with what you can work with, and continue studying. That's all I can say. But that's going to do it for this video. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you do, please feel free to like and subscribe. I'm going to be posting more content. I'm also full-time in school, so I'll jump on this when I can. I'm going to be taking a couple classes on modeling, textures, and as well as programming. So we're going to continue working with the software. I just wanted to put this little video to show some insight of what you can do with the engine. I know it's not perfect, but you know, the more I work with it, the more I'll be bringing you guys along that journey. But this is pretty much the basics. There are some good tutorial videos out there on YouTube. One of the best tutorial videos I can recommend on YouTube is the Bad Decision Studios. Shout out to those guys. Those guys are very elaborate. They're very expressive. They work well as a team. They have that hold your hand approach, which is something that I think everybody can benefit from. And you'll be able to pull a lot from those videos compared to some of the paid tutorial videos that are out there. Save your money, give them a look. I'll put that in the description below. And again, if you have any recommendations for any other tutorials that you feel free you can recommend, go ahead and just send that down in the comments and help out your fellow devs. Anyways, appreciate you guys tuning in, and as always, happy building.